All right, it is November 1st, so you fuckers better have paid your rent. All right, so I was on set. Well, it's November 1st when you're watching this. It's the end of October when I'm filming this. Last weekend, I was in Delaware shooting Amityville vs. the Galactic Samurai Schoolgirls with Will Keenan of The Ghastly Love of Johnny X and Tromeo and Juliet. And he was the not Michael Jackson in that episode of Law & Order Special Victims Unit. And Fallon from Fallon. And the Brian Wilde directing, I wrote it. And the Red Cup Films guys shot it. It was awesome. But there's a lot of hurry up and wait while you're shooting stuff. And I was kind of scrolling through trailers, and I stumbled across a trailer called HEBEGB TV. And from the trailer, it looked sort of like a horror version of Weird Al's UHF, with like a Pee Wee Herman vibe to it as well. So I was like, fuck, I gotta see that. I'm a huge fan of those types of films, the Groove Tube, Amazon Women on the Moon, Stay Tuned with John Ritter, the Terror Vision, any of those kind of like flipping channels types of movies. And the little skits in this look kind of cool from what I saw of the trailers, like puppets and animation and shit. So I was like, fuck yeah, let's do this. So I tracked it down tonight. I'm at work. I'm still waiting for Killers of the Flower Moon to get out because it's 3.5 hours long. So I watched this movie. I found it on Screambox, which is a Amazon streaming service. So the movie. Think again, if you took UHF, the VHS films, like the VHS series, Drop Dead Fred, Pee Wee Herman, and Little Monsters, Beetlejuice Light. I don't like that movie. Everybody fucking loves the Fred Savage, Ben Savage movie. I'm not a fan. Put them all together, and you have kind of like a YouTube poop kind of vibe, where it's just this string of skits together. But really what it is the Riddler's plan from Batman Forever, like with the box, that it's in every house. This one's got like these, nobody knows where these TV boxes came from, but everybody wants them, and the executives are too busy counting money to care where they came from, and it turns out it's like a mind control thing. And these two little kids who are the worst part of the movie, unfortunately. I know they're little kids. I'm not going to shit on this thing either because it clearly was made for no money, and it looks like there's a lot of fun and passion that was put on camera. But the two monotone little kids and the uneven lighting and the uneven sound design of those scenes undercuts what the guy who's like the lead of this, he's like the Purple Man, but not the Purple Man, because the Purple Man's a Daredevil villain. And he was also the guy who was Doctor Who on the show that was Alias, but it wasn't called Alias because Jennifer Garner was Alias. Jessica Jones. See? I was going to get to it eventually. He's like this like children's show host, kind of demon pixie guy. The movie is very flamboyant. It definitely has a very camp queer quality to it as well. There's a lot of things mixed in there, like you would have like a lot of cross dissolves and superimposed images and kaleidoscoping images and EC comic style lighting. It's trying to be very, in your face and wild and very 1990s kind of feel to it. Much like you would have something like a Psycho Goreman, or I don't know, I don't know. This is a lot of these movies. There are definitely things about this I like. The kids are told to watch the TV, and there's some really funny little skits in there. I love the Blood TV one where it's supposed to be like, you're watching the Disney Channel where they would draw the thing, but this one is just people who are just repeatedly splashed with blood. I thought that was really clever and fun. There's like a Frankenstein puppet that sort of looks like the tough kid from Pee-wee's Playhouse. And it's Franks, where like they bring meat back to life and it's sewn together from other meat and stuff like that. I thought that was clever. It repeats itself a little bit too much, and there's other ones in this that do it, but it also took me out of it a little bit when they do the Too Many Cooks. They did that segment for Mandy, the commercial, the Cheddar Goblin, and that is executed so fucking perfectly in that movie, because that entire commercial is just the cosmos saying "fuck you," like, humanity, you mean nothing. What you just experienced outside with with the Colt and your wife means nothing in the grand scheme of things. And I think that is brilliant, and that was so well executed in how Nicolas Cage looks at it and how the Too Many Cooks guys put that thing together. But it ends with, the Cheddar Goblin puking up mac and cheese. This one has kind of the same thing, where it's puking up Franks and beans and mustard and ketchup and stuff like that. Too soon. There's a skit with like a stand-up comedian who's a skeleton puppet, and then everybody in the audience is a skeleton, and it's funny at first, but then they just keep repeating the same joke over and over again. They repeat like disposing of body jokes a lot too, because there's like a running series of commercials for like a cleaning product that like will take care of blood and all that kind of stuff, and it's like the tagline is "We don't ask questions." But then they do it a couple more times where they're just saying the same thing over and over again. But then later on, there's like a DIY, but it's like DIYED kind of thing, where it's like a woman like building like a basement to like, cut up human bodies. So it was a little bit too much of the same thing. But the things in there that I did like, I really liked. There's this sex talk hotline. Another thing is, in the beginning, they're going for more of a subversive kids show kind of vibe to it. So like, the original Pee Wee Herman stage show, because a lot of that existed into Pee Wee's Playhouse, but not as overtly as it did in those old, ones. I remember watching way before I ever saw Pee Wee's Playhouse, seeing those Pee Wee, shows on HBO when I was a little kid. But this one, it doesn't ease itself into vulgarity. It just kind of is at an even keel, and it's this, and then it's back to, and then it's this. There's the tone is inconsistent, and I understand it's supposed to be like a changing channels thing, but I think that if they kind of went at an even tick and then got kind of Tim and Eric-y with it, then it would become more nightmarish and weird as you're sucked into the TV signal of this thing. Before we steal the Riddler's plot, damn you, Edward Nygma. But there's this sex talk hotline thing, and it's like this blue woman, and it's the same guy who I think wrote a lot of this and directed it with some other people, and plays the purple guy as well. He plays like this blue sex talk worker thing, monster. But it keeps getting prank calls from characters from other skits, like the stoner cockroach and the dickhead carved pumpkin and stuff like that, until finally she like quits, and then like it cuts from like this 900 number to like a behind the scenes documentary where she's like crying and saying like she's a star and she's gonna make it. But there's a line where she says they just like her because she has a rockin' monster cooch, and that made me laugh. There's definitely some stuff in here that I really enjoyed. Again, going with the idea of, I love UHF, I love Stay Tuned, Terror Vision and Pee Wee Herman and Drop Dead Fred and all that shit, and putting all those things together with a Beetlejuicy kind of vibe. It probably comes down to the budget. It probably comes down to some things probably looked a lot better and sounded a lot better on the page than they actually did like in the film itself. So I can't really fault them for that part of it. The trailer caught me. It made me want to check it out, and I did. And I wasn't disappointed in it. I just feel like, man, they left money on the table in some things. Like there were some jokes that I wish would have gone a different way, or that they could have done something more with. Because what you eventually come down to is like the last 30 minutes of the movie is this short film on demand, like demon. That's like, it's called the Night Snacker. and it's the only one that has like opening title credits, and that they clearly put a lot of effort into. So they probably had that first, and then built the rest of the movie backwards onto it, because that's what it feels like to me. But that was also the least interesting part of the entire film, was that short film. And there's a lot of, like, references to other horror movies and TV shows and commercials, lines from other horror movies too, that are just like kind of like dropped in there. They're not shoehorned in there as bad as like the end of Creeporama, I think the movie was, or Spookorama or something like that, where the whole entire end, when all the zombies are in the drive-through or drive-in, is all just movie lines, and it's just like, stop, like, we're better than this. But yeah, no, I the trailer sucked me in. I love the concept of, the channel surfing on horror channels and stuff like that. I think it could have used another set of eyes in there, and maybe another voice to kind of, give it a different vibe. I like the queer camp angle of it. I love the EC Comics look to it, and all that. I just feel like it needed something. There was something missing from it that I wish was in there. But in the vibe of like these anthology movies, I just watched the newest VHS film, and I don't really get that series. It's like not really my vibe, especially if you're not going to actually shoot them on video or try to like, put them back kind of analog looking. That's what we did with the Paperboy trailer. Not that I'm a good filmmaker or anything like that, but we shot it digitally, then we put it on VHS, and we ran it back through that way. That way it had an authentic VHS feel to it. Same thing that like Manborg did as well. That's why I appreciate that and Turbo Kid so much more than Kung Fury. And I know people love Kung Fury, but not a fan. So yeah, I hope everybody's Halloween was good. November is going to be interesting. We got a whole bunch of cool stuff coming up in November. I hope everybody didn't fill up on Halloween candy, because kids don't really even fucking trick or treat anymore. Like all this trunk or treat stuff, and kids are allergic to their own sweat, and I don't know. Halloween ain't the same as it used to be. But I just turned 42, so I'm just an old man yelling at clouds at this point. And I'm yelling at the internet and telling them, if you have Screenbox TV, if you like some of the things that I referenced in here, maybe give HEBEGB TV, it's fun to say, a look. But, it's not breaking any new ground. I would like to see what these guys could do, like if we had taken that short out at the end and filled it with more fake ads, and because there's like a Elizabeth Bathory like facial moisturizer thing in there. There could have been more of that and less of the girl who comes home and her girlfriend got the box and she's watching TV, and there's like all this empty dialogue of just like bad actors acting badly to get to how we need to lead into that skit, that short film. Less of that, more of the Purple Man, and more puppets, and there's a really cool like creepy crawlers type of commercial in there, where it's like mixing DNA in this potion, and it's very much shot like a 90s cartoon, but instead they make this slimy monster that's alive. And that reminded me of like when gross out stuff was really popular in the 90s, like Monster Face and Gak and creepy crawlers and slime and boogers and stuff like that was huge at that point in the 90s. There was a different time. But yeah, that's it. That's HEBEGB TV. It's a shorter review tonight, but I wanted to check this movie out, and I was like, well, I watched it, I might as well talk about it. Now I gotta go through Screambox and see what else is in here, if there's any cool shit. If I forgot any skit movies, let me know. I'm always checking those out, and yeah, I'll see you guys next week.